Hey, this is Chris from Chris's Comments, a show of common sense on common ground, no matter what the subject. Well, common sense told me that there was going to be another mass shooting somewhere. Unfortunately, I is proven correct. We're going to start over here in San Antonio, Texas, just outside of my city, in between the town called Castroville and this town, my city, San Antonio. Some douchebag got in his car, drove on the highway opposite direction against traffic, and started shooting out his car at other vehicles. Now, he killed one guy and injured another. And I'm assuming because there was nothing concerning about property damage that he missed everybody else. But the guy was caught, and thankfully, I hope this douchebag, just rots. I hope he gets life or the chair. It doesn't matter. When you're doing some kind of moronic shit like that, for whatever reason, it's, you're an asshole, and you need to face capital punishment. But nobody more so than the shooter in Texas, in Houston. Turns out, there was a shooting in a vigil where some guy in a drive-by went to a candlelight vigil in a celebration of life, which is the ritual in Baytown. It's about 25 miles outside of Houston. Some douchebag did a drive-by into a crowd, shot into a crowd, and actually killed one and injured 14 people in this drive-by. And it was just this really mystery. So far, no what do you call it? There's no reason to it yet. But at the same time, it's predictable. It's predictable because this is what I was saying. Some doofus is going to think that he's doing, either the right thing or just his thing or whatever. And he's taking his anger out or whatever. He's doing whatever with a gun into the crowds. We've had that before, where people would, people were coming out and shooting. There was a school shooting, but that was concerning a student amongst his own students. It really just left a lot of questions, as opposed to something like gang related or what have you. It's possible that the douchebag, I think he was 34 years old, douchebag that shot up on the highway in between the little town called Castroville and my town, San Antonio. It's possible he did it for his gang or representing or just trying to be a badass. So far, no real indication as to what it was, as to the reasons why. But that's what I'm actually going to go for. I believe that that's what's probably going to be about. And as far as this one here at the vigil, where everybody's getting together, you have defenseless people, and even if they're armed, they're at a certain place at a festival called Celebration for Life, doing their prayers or seances or whatever. And the last thing that they're thinking of is, should I carry a gun because some asshole might drive by and spray the place. They're not doing that. They're there for their own spiritual uplifting reasons. Okay. Now, the gunfire erupted just as the vigil was releasing balloons into the air. Right as they were releasing the balloons up into the air is when a vehicle appeared, and almost at the exact same time opened fired. Some could say that this was a planned disturbance, but so far nobody really has any clue as to what that was about. What I see, however, is somebody taking shots at a crowd of people exactly like the way I imagined it. We have X amount of time between the last shooting and something like the holidays, Christmas, where everybody is just after Thanksgiving, where everybody was behaving themselves on Thanksgiving, instead of going out and partying and all this good stuff, or having an affair, I don't know. Somebody's got something in them that literally makes this guy believe that it's okay to pick up a gun and shoot into a public crowd. And it's easy to do now because of all the past shutdowns, lockdowns, mandates, mask mandates, distance mandates, numbered of people that go into a place, all these restrictions and safety measures that had been taken, which has just been driving everybody up a wall. So you got people coming in and out, and they want to enjoy themselves. I, being a rideshare driver, I'm noticing this too. People are going out to see, movies, to go hang out with friends, to go to parties, company parties, now that it's the Christmas holidays time. Just like in Thanksgiving, there were people going to company get-togethers for a Thanksgiving dinner or a meal. And you got all this activity where everybody's trying to enjoy themselves while something like Omicron has come up, and there's another threat, or not threat, but just like another, like all these warning signs of another lockdown looming over us, possibly going into effect real soon. As sure as we are now 800,000 dead due to the coronavirus, starting with COVID-19, up till now with the third mutation, the third mutation, which is now called Omicron. You have the coronavirus, you have the Delta virus, which is a lot more clingier, a little bit more difficult to get rid of. And now you have Omicron, which is the same strength as the Delta variant, but spreads faster. Okay, so it's this complicated mess, which again might loom. It has shut down and lockdown looming over us all over again, and we're just not sure as to whether or not that's going to happen or not. So far, it's looking good. However, seeing as how we're now up to 800,000 as opposed to last year where we were at 600,000. Just over 500,000, it's getting to be another threat again. It's getting to look another threat again. So it's getting to look like there's another chance of a lockdown and a shutdown, and what the hell are we going to do now? But out of all of that stuff, out of all these possibilities of things just making it harder on ourselves, there's some asshole with a gun shooting down at crowds. A Mexican singer by the name of Vicente Fernandez, got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And the fans that remembered him, I wasn't a fan. I never hated the guy. I wasn't a fanatic, but I never hated the guy. I knew he was a very famous singer because, real powerful lungs back in the day when, those microphones that held on stands, they were like these big blocks, big chunk of metal blocks that had to be on the stand, and you were at risk of electrocuting yourself if you touched it, and all this other stuff. He's from those days, and you had to know how to project your voice in big grand halls and stuff like that in those days, and he's from those times. So it's commendable to the man and all this good stuff. But right where everybody's doing a memorial, right on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, somebody opens up, somebody starts shooting, somebody starts letting out some gunfire at these people. Now, the male suspect was taken into custody over there, despite the fact that it had to shut down Hollywood Boulevard. So far, nobody here in Texas. Nobody in Houston yet. The dipshit that shot over here outside of San Antonio, he got busted. He was a dipshit, and rightly so. Nobody that does that should be able to walk free. We still have a week until Christmas, when everybody starts sitting at night, going to their families, tending to their loved ones. We still got about 13 days, and we've got, at the time of this recording anyway, it's December 13th. It's a little bit of a ways till the 24th, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. And we've got another weekend coming up. So what we to expect, more than likely 1 or 2 more shootings. Here in Texas, I don't think it's going to be that many. I think it's all going to be domestic, because that's the way it's been so far throughout this entire year, with the exception of this shooting here in San Antonio and the shooting over in Houston. Most people have been very, very domestic reasons, and it's a very sad thing, but that's an ugly reality. Here's the amongst other people too. Here's the thing that draws the attention with the mass shooting is that it's always against the defenseless, and it's always with some douchebag that is just this asshole, and it's starting to become a whole lot more predictable now. It's just over a week before Christmas, before everybody goes back to behaving themselves. These next few days, this next week is going to feel like a very long week because of that, because we don't know where it's coming. In San Antonio, we still have a lot of activities going on and everything. We've got performers and comedians, and they still have these shows to give. And then there's the ceremonies. This one is alarming because it took place at the Celebration for Life. It was a festival, or not a festival, but like a ceremony. It was a gathering, a little bit of a ritual of prayers and stuff like that. There's going to be quite a few of those, especially in former Catholic-dominated states like this one here in Texas. The Catholic Church still holds real strong here, and there's a lot of copycat. Well, I wouldn't say copycat, but there's other denominations of the Christian religion that are doing their thing as well. It's no longer just a Catholic thing, despite the fact that we're still in larger numbers and we're still a lot more out in the open doing stuff. And I say that because this weekend that just finished, it's Monday now, but all weekend that I was working, there was sort of this marathon thing that was going on with a church, and there was a small group of all these people that were crossing town, one side of town to the other, which was about 10 miles. They were carrying this Virgin Mary holding baby Jesus statue. It was about a group of, there was like about a dozen of them doing that, while the rest of the people were jogging and walking and crossing from one part of town to the other. And that's just one Catholic-based ritual, for Christmas, in the name of Christ, our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. That's just one ceremony. There's candlelight vigils. There's prayers, get-togethers, and sermons in all these other churches. So we've got quite a few targets that are going to be vulnerable to somebody that's doing a mass shooting. So it's going to be a long week this week. I'm not really sure it's going to be a large number, just simply because usually when people try to do mass shootings, they tend to go into hiding. and it's usually not somebody else. It's usually somebody from a different class or a different nationality or a different race that gets their build up to where they want to do it, or they take a look at whatever douchebag was out there and just take that information and feed it to their friends and followers, to whatever rhetoric and propaganda that they're trying to preach and such. So we got this going on, and it's a little concerning, but at the same time it was predictable, you know. And we want to hope, and as much as I really don't wish jail time or prison time on anybody, because it's such a harsh way to live in there. However, I honestly believe it's a good time to start making the exception, especially when it comes to douchebags like this. You know, this isn't a fight between gangsters. You know, this isn't a macho man thing. This is an asshole that shot at a bunch of defenseless people. Ergo, capital punishment should be the punishment, even if that's what the guy wants. And I say that just simply because there's so many of them now that have this I don't care mentality. And so many of them now that feel like they're badasses and that they're, you know, born to be killers and all this other garbage. And quite honestly, I think it's about time that society lets them win, you know, by flipping the switch, by pushing the button that injects 3 forms of toxins that makes it a lethal injection. It sounds messed up, but what's messed up is feeling like that we've done something to punish these people, these criminals, and them feeling proud about themselves. You know, if they're gonna feel proud about themselves anyway, how uncommon or illogical is it, you know, to say, fine, let them feel proud, but they're no longer our problem, and flip the switch. You know, push the injector button. It's it only makes sense. I'm pretty sure it only makes sense to me. I'm sure a lot of people out there don't agree with it, and I understand. We are talking about life and death and choices concerning it. However, that being said, I honestly believe it's the more responsible thing to do, because the rest of us out here aren't thinking along those lines. The rest of us out here aren't willing to be proud of something like that. The rest of us out here are willing to be proud of our family. They're willing to be proud of the person that we love. Are willing to be proud of doing good work at work. You know, there's so many other ways to feel proud. So many other ways that doesn't involve hurting others, killing others, making horrible inflictions on others, traumatic inflictions or what have you. There's so many ways to actually live on this earth. You know, honestly, I think we should let them win. I think we should let them win. They do this thing, we take them out, we carry on. And we offer our condolences and support, not to the criminal that thinks he's doing a good job, but to the defenseless that were being good. To the defenseless that weren't out hurting others. Makes sense to me. So I'm coming up to closing time right now. I just want to wish everybody happy holidays. I'm more than likely going to throw one out before Christmas time anyway, but I just want to say stay safe out there. You know, we got every right to be outside. We've got every right to do a prayer. We got every right to go party. We got every right to go celibate. We got every right to go fool around. Whatever aspect you like to live, you have the right to do so. Stay safe out there. I mean, we are earning our playtime. We are earning our right to relax. We're earning it. We're going through a lot of crap right now. Power struggles, high class society, trying to get away with, with their crimes after, statutorily raping minors 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. We've got a bunch of people of hate wanting to cause restrictions, gerrymandering, voting maps restricted, redistricting. Here in Texas especially. That doesn't change. We still have to struggle with that, But in between those times, I mean, it's nice to kick back and relax. We've earned it. We've earned it. I'm a driver. I can't see one of my cousin's newborn baby because of some hack, some virus or whatever. I'm out here. I'm all over the place. So even if nobody's carrying it, jumping into my vehicle, I could be going in a highly dense area where it's still floating around, comes into my car, lands on me, and here I am a carrier. I'm a vaxxed carrier. It's not going to kill me, but it could kill one of my relatives' newborns. It can kill one of my other relatives' toddler. I have to be safe. We all have to be safe. And in between these incidences and those douchebags and this dude and all this stuff, we earn the right to relax and kick back. We earn the right to enjoy that game with the barbecue. We enjoy the right, to some pizza and a movie. Popcorn and movie. We've earned the right to do this. The last thing we need is some asshole with a gun screwing it up for all of us. That fool thinks that he has a right to force us back into our houses. And that's just not cool. To hell with him. To hell with this guy that got caught here in San Antonio. To hell with that guy that's going to get caught over in Houston. To hell with that asshole that got caught in Los Angeles. To hell with every single douchebag that opens fire on a gun for whatever reason they think it's okay to do so. Especially those in a crowd. Especially while shooting into a defenseless crowd. To hell with them. Lock them up, throw away the key. Lock them up, lethal inject. This is Texas. We still have the right to hang a person. Lock them up, put the noose around the neck. Do it. It only makes sense. Those guys are the reasons why we can't go out and have fun. Those guys are the ones we're over here mask mandating. We're wearing masks. We're getting the vax. We're keeping distance. We're cooperating with this system of safety. We're cooperating with it. We shouldn't have to worry about whether or not we're going to get a cap in our ass. That's my time. Y'all take care. Stay safe out there. Keep on staying safe. Wear your masks. Y'all take it easy, all right? This is Chris. Chris's Comments, signing out. Y'all have a good one.